Last week I challenged myself to build the ultimate trout fly box using only 5 fly patterns. And the goal wasn't to pick the 5 best trout flies. It was to build a fly box that could handle just about every river, every hatch, and every fishing situation I could think of. Well, this week we're going to do the same thing, only this time we're talking bass. And honestly, I think this challenge is even harder. See, trout are fairly predictable. They spend most of their time feeding on aquatic insects, and regardless of the species, they generally feed in very similar ways. Bass, on the other hand, are opportunistic predators. They'll eat minnows, crayfish, frogs, leeches, dragonflies, mice, and just about everything else that they can fit into their mouths. I also have to build a fly box that works for both smallmouth and largemouth bass, two species that, while similar, often feed a little differently. So, if I could only keep 5 bass fly patterns in my box for the rest of my life, which ones would I choose? Well, let's find out. This is McFly Angler.
And it starts now.
Let's kick this off with my first pick, and that is the near enough crayfish. As most of you probably know, one of the bass's favorite foods is crayfish. And most of the time, where there are bass, there's also crayfish. Both smallmouth and largemouth absolutely love them. Crayfish also naturally fit the way bass feed. Most bass spend a lot of their time holding around docks, rocks, timber, ledges, and other structure, waiting for an easy meal to come by. That's exactly where a crayfish lives, making it one of the most natural presentations you can throw. That alone is reason enough for me to have a crayfish pattern in my fly box. Now, why did I choose the near enough? To me, it's one of the most adaptable crayfish patterns out there. You can tie it quite small to imitate younger crayfish, or scale it up to a much larger meal. And while the old saying, bigger baits catch bigger fish, certainly has some truth to it, I don't always head to the water chasing trophy bass. Sometimes I'm just out with a 3 or 4 weight, catching smaller bass and enjoying the day. Having one pattern that works across such a wide range of sizes is a huge advantage. Another thing that I like is it doesn't have to be tied overly heavy. You can add weight if you want to crawl it slowly across the bottom, but it also fishes extremely well with a lighter sink that allows you to hop it, strip it, swim it, or give it short erratic twitches that look like a crayfish trying to escape. Now, I'll admit, I was really tempted to put my own crayfish pattern in this spot. I absolutely love fishing it, especially in my local rivers, and I've caught some really nice bass with it in lakes as well. The problem is that it doesn't scale up particularly well, and there's definitely times when I want to imitate a much larger crayfish. And there are plenty of excellent crayfish patterns out there that could have filled this spot, but for me, the near enough checks most of the boxes. It is fairly easy to tie, adapts to a wide range of sizes, and those feather claws have an incredibly lifelike movement in the water that bass simply can't resist. So for my first bass fly, that near enough crayfish gets the nod. So now we have a crayfish pattern in our fly box, but bass don't just eat crayfish. A huge part of their diet is fish, shad, minnows, bluegill, and even other bass. So I absolutely need a versatile baitfish pattern in this fly box. And for me, that's a rabbit leech. The biggest reason I chose it is its versatility. Simply change the color and it can imitate a wide variety of baitfish. Tied in black and it also becomes an excellent leech pattern. So with one fly, I've now covered multiple important food sources. You can tie these extremely small for poking around a neighborhood pond with your kids, or scale them up into a serious meal for larger bass. That alone makes them one of the most adaptable streamers that I know of. You can fish them weightless, add a bead to get them down deeper, tie in a few rubber legs for some extra movement, add a bushy collar to imitate a sculpin, or keep them sleek to represent a tiny minnow. And there are very few streamers that adapt to so many different situations as a rabbit leech. What really separates it for me, though, is the rabbit fur itself. Rabbit has incredible lifelike movement in the water. Even when you pause the retrieve, those rabbit strips continue to breathe and undulate, giving the fly action that is hard to replicate with almost any other material. They're also incredibly simple, inexpensive, and quick to tie. At its core, all you really need is a rabbit strip, a streamer hook, and some thread. Of course, you can dress them up however you'd like, but even the basic pattern is incredibly effective. Now, I had a really difficult time deciding between the rabbit leech and a woolly bugger. Now, if you watched last week's trout video, you know I picked the woolly bugger for that fly box. And it could absolutely earn a spot here as well. But I ultimately chose a rabbit leech because it scales up much larger and better for bigger bass. And I simply don't think that there's another streamer that matches the lifelike movement of rabbit fur under the water. For bass, that was enough to give it the edge. So for my baitfish pattern, the rabbit leech earned its place in my bass box. Okay, so now we have a crayfish, baitfish, and even leeches covered. And honestly, with just those two flies, bass can be caught in 90% of the water that I fish. But let's make this fly box even more complete. As I've already said, bass don't limit themselves to what they eat, and they certainly don't limit themselves to one part of the water column either. Some of the most exciting bass fishing happens right on the surface. In fact, creating enough commotion on top can pull bass up from surprisingly deep water. So I absolutely need a topwater fly in this box. And for me, it's a preformed foam head feather popper. Okay, that's a mouthful. But there's just so much going for it. It spits a tremendous amount of water, makes plenty of noise, and while the head is sitting still, the feather tail and rubber or silicone legs continue to move, giving the fly life even on the pause. They're also fairly easy to tie, at least as poppers go. The preformed head does most of the work for you. Tie the tail, glue the head, and you're nearly finished. You can color them however you'd like also. Make them resemble a frog, which bass absolutely love, or imitate a struggling baitfish trying to escape across the surface. So while they only fish one level on the water column, they absolutely dominate that level. If I'm fishing early in the morning or late in the evening, there's a very good chance I'm tying on a popper. Rivers or lakes, it really doesn't matter. Bass absolutely love them, and I honestly don't think that there's a more exciting way to catch bass than watching one explode on a topwater fly. Now, you could certainly choose a deer hair popper instead. To be honest, they're beautiful flies, and when they're tied well, they're really hard to beat. But they also take a really long time to tie, and not everyone enjoys spending 30 to 45 minutes at the vise for just one fly. Another fly that almost made this list was a gurgler. It's much easier to tie, and creates a lot of surface disturbance. But for me, it just doesn't push quite as much water or make the same popping sound as a foam popper. So when it came down to choose just one topwater pattern, the foam popper earned its place in my bass box. Alright, we're 3 flies into this box now, and honestly, I think we've covered just about every everyday bass fishing situation. We have a great crayfish pattern, a versatile baitfish streamer, and a topwater fly. But every once in a while, I want to throw something big. Sometimes you want to eliminate the smaller bass and specifically target a larger fish. And that's exactly where a game changer comes in. Now, bass will eat surprisingly large meals. In fact, every once in a while, they'll even try to eat something that's clearly bigger than they should. So having one oversized baitfish pattern in the box just made sense. And for me, there's simply nothing else like the game changer. Blaine Chocolate introduced this pattern a little over 20 years ago, and it's become an absolute icon. The movement is unbelievable. I mean, just look at that. They can be tied fairly small, but they also scale up to absolutely massive flies. So much so that many pike anglers tie them in sizes that almost look ridiculous. But now, I'll admit, they aren't the quickest flies to tie, and one of these can easily take 30 minutes or more. But honestly, they're not all that difficult. They just take a little patience, and in my opinion, they're absolutely worth the effort. Another thing I love is how customizable they are. Color them to imitate a bluegill, a shad, or even other bass. Or use bright colors to create more of an attractor pattern. They'll also push an incredible amount of water. As those articulated sections move, they create vibrations that bass can detect with their lateral line. And that's one of the reasons bass are still able to hunt so effectively in dirty water. Now, we already have a great general purpose streamer in the rabbit leech, but when fish are keying on larger bait, or I really want to attempt a bigger bass, this is the fly I'm reaching for. I mean, I've had fish refuse everything else I throw at them, only to eat a game changer on the very first cast. Now, there are certainly other large streamers that could have filled this spot. Deceivers are another excellent choice and can be tied in large sizes. But for me, they just don't have quite the same movement or push the same amount of water. So when it came to choose an oversized baitfish pattern, the game changer was an easy choice. Alright, we only have one slot left in this fly box, and honestly, I think we've covered just about everything. We have a crayfish, a topwater fly, a versatile baitfish streamer, and a large profile predator fly. But there is still one situation I don't feel we've completely covered, and that's getting a baitfish imitation down deep, and getting there fast. Yes, I can add weight to the rabbit leech, but with all that rabbit fur, it's never going to sink quite as quickly. The near enough crayfish gets down well too, but sometimes I don't want a crayfish, I want a slim profile baitfish. And that's exactly where the Clouser minnow shines. The slim profile, combined with heavy lead or tungsten dumbbell eyes, allows this fly to get down to depths that many other streamers simply can't touch. There isn't much material creating drag, so once it starts sinking, it absolutely plummets. And once it gets down there, it's incredibly versatile. You can jig it vertically, almost like you would for crappie. You can bounce it on the bottom, like a crayfish, or strip it quickly through the water to imitate a darting baitfish. You can also tie it much larger. Use smaller brass eyes, and now you got a great shallow water baitfish pattern with a completely different presentation. Where the rabbit leech excels with slower, smoother retrieves, the clouser really shines with quick, erratic strips. And sometimes that's exactly what bass are looking for. Another reason I love this fly is that it catches just about everything. I've caught trout, bass, bluegill, carp, redfish, and I've even caught tuna on clousers. They simply work. In fact, if I ever made a top 5 saltwater fly box, the clouser would almost certainly be on that list too. Part of its magic is its simplicity. There's nothing about it that screams one particular forage, and it can resemble a baitfish, a crayfish, and in saltwater it can even pass for a shrimp. And that's what makes this fly so versatile. It's also incredibly quick to tie. Once you get the hang of them, you can crank out dozens in an hour using nothing more than a bucktail and a little flash. Or swapping craft fur or other synthetic materials to save a little money. And I've even tied them with rubber legs for a little extra movement. And honestly, if I could only choose one fly for bass, it might actually be the clouser minnow. Alright, there we have it. These are the 5 fly patterns I would choose if I could only fish 5 flies for bass. Do you agree with this list? Is there a pattern that you would switch out? And I'd love to hear what your ideal 5 fly bass box would look like down in the comments. Now, while this whole exercise might be hypothetical, because let's be honest, who is ever going to limit themselves to only 5 fly patterns for the rest of their life? I do actually think it's a valuable way to think about building a fly box. What if you're heading down to a brand new lake or river where you don't know the forage, the conditions, or even how the fish are feeding? What would you bring? Well, if you've already gone through this exercise and built a 5 fly box that you could feel could handle most anything, picking for those trips suddenly becomes a whole lot easier. And that's really what this series is all about. Now, if you'd like to learn how to tie any of these flies I mentioned today, including all the honorable mentions, I've created full step-by-step tutorials for every single one of them, and I'll put links to those down in the description section so you can check them out. And next week, we'll tackle panfish and see if we can narrow that fly box down to just 5 patterns as well. Now, before we wrap up, I also want to mention that I do sell the fly boxes that you've seen throughout this video, along with several other styles. They're available on Amazon with free shipping, and I'll put a link to my Amazon storefront in the description section below where you can find these fly boxes, a few other styles, and even some McFly angler hats. And I'd also like to thank my sponsor, Risen Fly. I use their hooks on all my flies, and they also make some fantastic fly rods and reels at very reasonable prices. They're offering all of you 15% off your first order, so just head over to www.risenfly.com and use the code McFly at checkout. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, do me a favor and click the like button. And apparently the new thing is hyping videos now, so if that's true, help me out and hype this one. I'll see you on the next video. Now you go catch some fish.